Alrighty, first shoe review of the channel. Um, don't know if this will help anybody or if anybody cares, but I'm gonna do this for my benefit. If nothing else, I can go back and remember my shoes and remember what I liked and disliked about them. Since for some reason I cannot for the life of me find a shoe mileage recording app that also allows you to rank the shoes and put notes in as to what you liked or disliked. So we're doing this. Anyway, this is the Nike React Escape Run. This is the color I got. It's just what I found on clearance. They had a couple other colors. After looking up this shoe, I realized there are a ton of colorways for this shoe. So if you don't like this color, there are tons of other options for you. But this is the shoe. Right now, I'm at about 58 miles on it. I'm probably gonna run in it today again, which will put me up over 60. Probably put me at about 63 total because we're supposed to do 5 miles today. But this is what we got. Pretty shoe. Outsole rubber, lots of outsole rubber. But it still does have like kind of a decoupled groove type thing going on with this little weird passageway that's going on right here. And let's dive into some of the stats and then go from there. First things first, price, because it drives me nuts in shoe reviews when they always wait till the end. They get you all hyped up for the shoe and then they tell you, oh, it's 180 bucks. And it's just like, oh. But this shoe, I've seen it available online for any range of prices between, I've seen it as low as 50 and I've seen it as high as 130. It is a little bit of an older shoe rendition, so that's why it's going to be on a little bit of the lower priced end for a lot of them, but it's largely going to depend on what colorway you want to get, because that seems to be a big determining factor in how much they charge for them. However, I have seen this colorway as low as 60 online. I think I got it for $64 plus tax originally. And then I've also seen it for 110 online. So it really depends on where you shop. Check out a bunch of different websites if you're remotely interested in this shoe. I would say check out a bunch of websites if you're interested in any shoe, because sometimes you'll find them significantly cheaper depending on where you get them. Next up, that I would be listening for you here, except for Nike did not make this information available for the shoe that I can find. I have checked out so many websites on Google, including Nike's official website, and they have no information on the stack height or the heel toe drop. I'm guessing based on the feel of the shoe and based on the kind of drops that Nike typically does, that it is a 6mm drop. It might be as high as an 8, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be higher than that. They are using the React foam, and it does fairly plush under the touch of the fingers. Like if you squish it, like it's got a decent amount of squish to it. It's not unstable by any means, though. You could definitely do corners in this shoe. It's supposed to be a neutral shoe, and I mean, it's reasonably neutral, but it's decently stable as well, which is nice, considering it is a little bit higher stack height, which is pretty good for longer runs. I have found that this shoe does feel better at a medium to slower pace for me anyway, and that's largely because of the weight. We're going to get onto the weight next. This is not a particularly light shoe as far as road running shoes are concerned. Now, I weighed it 2 different ways because I did not keep the insole that came with the shoe. I swapped it out for a Dr. Scholl's, this is really gross looking, Dr. Scholl's like running arch support shoe, and we will get to why I did that a little bit later. So I weighed the shoe on my little scale with the insole in and with the insole out, to give you an idea of what the actual shoe weighs, since the Dr. Scholl's insert will skew that significantly. With the Dr. Scholl's insert in it, it is 10.25 ounces, which is not light for a road shoe. That's at least according to my scale, but my scale was being a little goofy today. So if people are out there like with metric understanding and they're like, wait, this doesn't add up, my scale was being goofy, okay? I'm going off of what my scale's telling me. I'm not looking it up online, mainly because Nike did not make stats available for this shoe well at all. I have not been able to find it. I've searched so many websites. So 291 grams, I got 10.25 ounces with the inserts in it. Without the inserts, I've got 239 grams and 8.45 ounces. So generally for a road running shoe in my size, which is usually a 9.5, though some brands and sometimes Nike, I have to go up to a 10, even a 10.5, depending on how narrow the toe box is. Fortunately, with this shoe, it is actually a little bit of a wider toe box for Nike. Nike tends to run narrow, but on this shoe, if you got a little bit of a wider toe box, this might be a good pick for you for a little daily trainer that isn't super expensive and that will last for a long time. We're going to talk about that in the pros in a little bit, but yeah, it's a solid shoe. Now, Nike does claim that this is a plush ride, like it's a more maximal cushion. I'd probably put this in like a medium cushion stack height range personally, just because it's not max in comparison to my other max cushion shoes. I also wouldn't call it a plush ride. I'd say it's like a medium, like kind of like smack dab in the middle of firm and plush. It's definitely not anything like the Zoom X foam, that's for sure, but it's still a comfortable ride. It's not bad. But if you really wanted something that's really soft underfoot, this is not going to be for you. But if you can handle something that's like somewhere in the middle there, nice shoe. The inserts I added also added a bit to that comfort because they are those little jelly inserts. So that helped me out a bit. Otherwise, they did feel a bit firmer without those inserts I added. And I know this is not popular to start with the cons on a shoe and then go to the pros. However, I'm of the mindset that I'd rather erase the bad stuff with the good stuff than erase the good stuff with the bad stuff. So we're going to start off with cons for the shoe. First con that I noticed, and that has not really been a problem for me, but for other people I could see how it would be, is that you'll notice it doesn't have any real runner's knots, like holes, to do like the runner's knot lacing. So if you tried on the shoe and you found that you had heel slippage or something, that would be a problem. I did not have that problem with this shoe. I had a decent lockdown in the shoe, still have. I found that the heel counter is very stiff. And it's nice. It feels nice around the collar, at least for me. It didn't rub in any weird places. I haven't gotten any blisters in this shoe. I've had a couple of times where I've gotten a little bit of hot spots on the bottom of my toe box, but I don't think that was really the shoe. I think that was probably the Dr. Scholl's sock liner. The next con is that if you have high arches like me, or you need something with a little more arch support, you're going to want to put a different insert in this shoe. That's actually the main reason I put in the Dr. Scholl's insert, because this shoe had like no arch support. I just needed a touch more than what it was offering. So I did the Dr. Scholl's like running arch support inserts, and that fixed them up perfectly for me. Plus it made them a little bit squishier, which was nice. Another thing, especially if you're doing summer running or hot weather running, these are not terribly breathable. I mean, they're decently breathable, but like, for example, it definitely has like double mesh. If you want a real solid upper, this is a very solid upper. I wish you could feel things. One of these days, they're going to invent a way for us to feel things through cameras, but it's got like this outside mesh, which has a bunch of little holes in it, but then the inside mesh is like more of this soft, it almost has like a layer of cushioning on the inside. So these are not terribly breathable. I've actually used these through winter so far this winter, and they've kept my toes significantly warmer than a lot of my other shoes. It does have a sort of kind of semi-gusseted tongue, which adds to, again, having more, like, there's multiple layers right here too, so it's not breathable on the sides, not breathable on the back, not breathable in the toe box. So pretty decent for winter running or fall running, sometime when it's a little bit colder and your toes get cold, but I would not say this would be great for summer running or anytime when it's hotter and you don't want to be getting a bunch of moisture buildup and possibly getting blisters. that's pretty much it for my cons on this shoe. Let's get to the pros. All right, first pro, which I mentioned earlier, tons of colorway options in this shoe, which is really fun. You get a lot of options for what you want to do. They've got ones with like leopard print on this back bit and then white on the front, which might be nicer for the summer conditions. If you are getting too hot, lighter colors help. But yeah, that's one of the pros. The other pros here, I'm just gonna reference my notes here. Oh yeah, much more room in the toe box than a lot of Nike's other shoes, especially like the Pegasus lineup tends to run really narrow. I have to do like a 10 or a 10.5 in the Nike Pegasuses just to get them to fit my foot. I don't own any of the Pegasuses because they have not served me well in the past. Nike tends to really lean on that neutral thing, and I tend to like something that, even if it's neutral, has a tad bit more support, and that's why I like this shoe. As you can see, it has a little bit of a wider midsection and a little bit of wider toe box and heel, which gives you a little bit more support. Also, the Nike React foam not being overly squishy tends to make it so that you're not gonna like just completely go out if you go on a turn. But it's a nice middle ground as far as that is concerned, which I really like. Last two things I want to talk about is the outsole rubber. I really like the outsole rubber on this and how well it has done. As you can see, it doesn't look like there's any wear on this outsole rubber at all, and I put in almost 60 miles on it. I'm at 58 miles on this shoe. As far as the foam is concerned, you can see that there is starting to be just a little tiny bit of creasing, but so far it hasn't lost any bounce. It's feeling the same, so durability is pretty decent in this shoe. I like that, especially when you can get like a daily trainer for a reasonable price and it's going to last for ages and ages and it's comfortable and you like it. Perfect. Love that. We're not in this business to break the bank. So durability is great. I've also found that the tread, especially with these little doodads right here, seems to handle wet sidewalk and asphalt really well. I would not say for ice. Not on ice, don't do ice, but just wet or just like a thin layer of mud or something is not bad. I actually wouldn't hesitate to take these on like a buffed out trail. I think they'd be able to handle that as long as it wasn't super technical and it was pretty much just packed down dirt. It would be fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this shoe. My thoughts on this shoe. I'm gonna have to edit the bejeebers out of this, but yeah, we're gonna start doing shoe reviews at about 50 miles just to kind of get an idea for where they're going. Probably every 50 miles, go ahead and do an update and see how a shoe is doing, see when it kind of hits its breaking point. I'm just curious as to do that. I'm also thinking of doing some experiments, and if anybody's watching this, tell me what you think, where I go ahead and test out the drainage on different shoes by literally plunging my feet into water and then running and seeing how long it takes for them to feel like they've kind of dried out a little bit, and if it gives me blisters or not, or starts giving me blisters. I don't want to give myself full-blown blisters. I'll stop if it starts becoming a problem. But I'm kind of thinking of doing an experiment with that, especially with my trail shoes, get an idea for which trail shoes are actually good if you have to do like creek crossings or it's the rain, because Lord knows I've done that. But in the meantime, that's the end of this review. I'm trying to be quiet. I'm probably not being as quiet as I think I am. Thank you for watching if you are, and have a great day.